What's up, guys? CEO here with a kind of random video. First off, sorry if this audio quality kind of sucks. I don't have any idea where my microphone is actually at right now. So just hoping I can find that. But anyway, I just wanted to make this a kind of quick update video, I guess. First off, I haven't really been updating very much on the channel. I've uploaded a couple of showdowns since Sun and Moon came out, but if you're wondering, the Soul Link is technically not dead yet. Luke and I are recording soon. He went on vacation for a couple of weeks, and then we've both just been busy with the holidays, so we have a couple of episodes already recorded, and are planning to get back to that soon. The NES Monotype tournament got canceled over the holidays just because we were more busy than we thought we were going to be, I guess. If you guys really want to, I can upload the rest of the battles I had for that, but spoilers, I actually ended up doing pretty well, and then we canceled the tournament, so a little upset by that. But now that I've gotten a little update out of the way, I wanted to go ahead and show off the new tournament that we're going to have, the Alolan Kahuna tournament. As you can kind of see with this Reddit screenshot I've had up here for a minute, sorry, you can see that we have 12 Pokemon that we need to pick. This is going to be a free draft, kind of similar to how the GBA is going to be doing their tournament, to kind of figure out how to tier stuff. It's just really new Pokemon and stuff. We don't really, we have an idea of what we want to tier it at, but we want to play with it first before we figure out exactly where stuff goes into a tiered draft system. So for this league, anyone can have anything they want except for the stuff that's been banned, like Mega Metagross and a couple of the other Megas that were unreleased but still banned, like Mega Mawile and stuff. We have to choose 8 Pokemon specifically from Alola that are Alolan Pokemon, so just because it's in the Alola dex doesn't mean we can just use it as an Alolan Pokemon. So I can draft Alolan Marowak or something like that, but if I wanted to draft Chandelure, because I can technically get it in Sun and Moon, it's not really an Alolan Pokemon because you have to do Island Scan for it, so that would count as a classic Pokemon. And something I want to point out about the Megas before we get too far into this is, since we're doing this on Showdown, and since we're doing this through custom battles and stuff, we're actually allowing even the unreleased Megas to be in this tournament. I actually really thought about making a Mega Lopunny team because of this, because I just thought Mega Lopunny would be pretty cool in Gen 7. But I ultimately decided to do something a little bit different. And before I get too far into what I'm actually doing, each team can have 1 Tapu and 1 Ultra Beast. That counts within the Alola Pokemon, so if you want to think of it as, we can have Tapu, an Ultra Beast, and 6 regular Alola Pokemon. Just because, to my knowledge, everyone's pretty much taking a Tapu and an Ultra Beast if they can. And any Pokemon can use any Z move. I want to clarify this a little bit. This still does, since we're kind of modeling this after the GBA, we're also going to follow their Omni boosting clause, I guess, so moves like Z conversion that boost everything, or all of the stats at once, or Forest Curse that boost all the stats at once. We're not allowing those just because they're kind of broken in League format, I think. But you can use any other Z move, so any attacking Z move, or any other support Z move that you want. We weren't actually going to allow Z moves in this tournament, but we talked about it and realized that it might be kind of fun to do. So, 4 minutes into the video, I guess I should let you know that I've already drafted, so I'm going to be pointing out my team here. And, alright. So, when we said in the tournament that we wanted to allow Ultra Beasts, my first thought was how amazing the Spermos are actually going to be in League play. Mixed attack and special attack is really nice in League format because you can basically just choose weekly which one you want to do. Beast Boost is an awesome ability because the highest stat is raised by 1 if this thing kills something. So it's basically like a specialized Moxie, only I can have it basically update attack attack, special attack, or speed if I want it to. I can just EV stuff. So I'm pretty excited to use Pheromosa. I don't really want to get like too in-depth onto moveset stuff, just because I know a lot of other coaches are going to be watching this. But there's a couple of unique sets that I actually want to try with Pheromosa that I think are a little too gimmicky for like ladder play, but I think could work in some weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've used Pheromosa a couple times and it always seems to do quite a lot of damage. But I realized I need a little bit of team support, so I went for another thing that's probably going to be tier 1, honestly, once we start doing tier format. My entire team's not, like, full of stuff that's going to be tier 1, but I wanted to get, like, power on my team first, so I went with Magearna. Steel Fairy is a really good type. Soul Heart's another Moxie-like ability, basically. I think Soul Heart's actually better, though, because I'm pretty sure you can even get it through, like, Toxic and stuff, if I remember right. But Magearna can set up in a couple of different ways. It has a unique move called Flare Cannon, which is basically a fairy-type Draco Meteor. Like I said, still Fairy's a good typing. It gets Thunder Wave and Volt Switch, which is cool. So a little bit of momentum gaining for my team, I guess. And it is also a Trick Room setter, just because Trick Room seems to be a little bit more common this generation than it was last generation. Probably because everything's so fucking slow. Next up, I have Decidueye. I actually debated for a while if I wanted to get Decidueye or Dhelmise, but I realized I didn't really need to have a Rapid Spinner on this team. As you're going to see, I actually have quite a lot of hazard prevention. I didn't want to get screwed over by that again. And I really just wanted something that had like pretty even stats across the board and could actually baton pass. That was something that I wanted. I also think that Decidueye's unique move, Spirit Shackle, is going to be pretty good in League format. It's not quite as helpful on the ladder, I think, just because trapping stuff doesn't really help as much, but in Leagues, if you get up against something that you think you can set up on and get to Spirit Shackle it, I think it's actually going to come out to be pretty good. Yeah, another U-turner, another wall, really, if I want it to be. Decidueye is surprisingly bulky. Tackle user, if I want. But yeah, there's really, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really want to get like too specific, also because I'm still trying to figure out how to use these Pokemon, but I'm pretty excited to use Decidueye. I use it in game, and it seemed to work out pretty well. Another Pokemon that I actually am stoked to use, and doesn't seem to be super common in this tournament yet, I think Kamala's actually going to be a really good pivot for my team. Comatose is an awesome ability that basically means that you can switch it into any status but sleep. I don't know if you can switch it in. I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit more and see if it's already considered to be a sleep, so if I can use like Sleep Talk or something. But this is probably one of the best Rapid Spinners I have on my team, to be honest, because it can switch into Toxic Spikes without getting poisoned, and it takes neutral damage from rocks, which is actually pretty rare for Rapid Spinners or Defoggers and stuff. It has a pretty good physical moveset. I'm probably never really going to use Special Kamala, even though it gets Calm Mind. But you never know, I guess. I don't want to rule it up too much. I can use Spin Up. It does get Spin Up Stockpile, I guess. But yeah, with these stats, it doesn't look like it's that bulky, but I've actually ran bulky like AV Kamala, and it's been pretty good work. It also gets Wish, which makes it a good pivot. But I'm pretty excited to use Kamala. I have a couple Ghost types on the team, so I feel like Kamala is going to be coming a little bit more than people expect, and I feel like it's going to do a little bit more work than people expect this season. Next up, I needed a ground type, and I figured getting a pure ground type was probably better than getting a ground type that someone else could play on other weaknesses on. And I use the Stamina Mudtail pretty often in my console game, I guess. And Stamina is just a really cool ability. Raising defense by one stage for every time you get hit sounds like it's kind of gimmicky, but you can actually use it pretty well as a rapid spin blocker, for example. You can also use it as super bulky rest stop set if you want to. You can use a choice band set, because coming off a 125 attack, Mudtail actually hits pretty hard. It doesn't have the most varied move pool around, so I don't actually expect it to be like a very high tier thing once we get into the official Season 2. But I wanted to give it a shot, because why not, I guess. Next up, we have probably, honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 7. Minior is just so much fun to play. It gets Shell Smash, if you didn't know, which makes its setup absolutely amazing, because it makes it very frail, but pretty much able to outspeed anything in the game after it gets a ×2 boost at 120 speed. And base 100 attack and special attack actually means that it's able to hit stuff pretty reliably on both sides. It gets stuff like Power Gem, and I don't know, it just has a lot of setup actually. If this thing got the Taunt Pass, it'd be completely broken, but you can pretty much set this thing up however you want to. It's U-turn, which I actually didn't know until going through here, but that's just another U-turn pivot for me if I want to. Yeah, just a lot of interesting moves on Minior. If you don't know, shields up, shields down basically means that if it's above half health, its attack, defense, special attack, and special defense are going to be swapped. So it basically turns into a bulky Pokemon that can't be status at all until it gets below half health, and then it turns into shields down where it's just offensive form. And I just think that's going to be really cool in League play. I'm actually probably more excited to use this Pokemon than any of the other Pokemon I've had so far. Keep the suspense a little bit, so hopefully I edited that. If not, you just got a big snap in your video, so sorry about that. Next up is another Pokemon that I really wanted to bring this season once we heard that we had the ability to draft whatever we wanted to. Alola Marowak is far better than its stats, which suggest. And if you've played any OU, basically, since Sun and Moon came out, you probably know this. But I think it has 3 abilities that are actually very viable in League format. You're mostly going to be running Lightning Rod because it gives you another immunity, and especially on the team that I have, the Lightning immunity is actually pretty nice. But Curse Body would be nice for a bulky set, which Marowak can run pretty well. And Rockhead actually works pretty well because this thing gets Bladelets, and being able to run Stab Bladelets with a thick club that doubles attack and not have to worry about recoil is pretty amazing. So I can run this thing offensive, I can run it defensive. If I really wanted to, I guess I could take advantage of that 50 special defense or special attack and actually have a decent move pool to choose from. Why this thing gets Ice Beam, I have no idea, but if we're going to use Ice Beam, I want it anyway. It's another Stealth Rocker, which is actually pretty nice because we are playing Post Bank, so you can bank in a Keybone with Stealth Rocks and then evolve it in Sun and Moon. More status, more setup. I don't know if I'm ever going to run a better draw, but you never know. Like I said, there's just a lot of, well, I don't really want to say untapped potential because obviously there's never really been an Alola Marowak in League format here before. But I think this is actually going to be one of the better Pokemon this season across the coaches that drafted it and stuff. I definitely see it being a tier 1, so I wanted to get my hands on it and see. Next up, I have my Mega, and before I spoil what my Mega is, I just wanted to take something that I personally may have not been very comfortable with, but I know is a very good Mega. I kind of want to learn how this thing works, finally. So I'm drafting Mega Sableye, and as of me recording this, there's only a couple more teams that need to get in here, but as of right now, I'm the only person that's actually drafting Mega Sableye. I feel like people might be a little scared by how many copies and new fairies there are, but I still think Sableye is going to be pretty good in League format. It was borderline unstoppable before, so I think giving it a couple of counters isn't really the end of the world. But if you don't know, Mega Sableye is one of pretty much the best wolves you could possibly have. It's only weak to fairy, and if you look around my team, I actually have many answers to that. Dark Ghost is just a really good typing for immunities. Mega Sableye has reliable recovery. It has set up pretty much any way you could want to. It has priority. Before I Mega Evolve, I actually get Prankster for a turn, so I can use priority pretty much any status I want. Magic Bounce is obviously fucking amazing too. If you didn't watch my last season, I had Mega Absol with Magic Bounce and got to set up a couple of times in people's faces. And I think Mega Sableye is even better at that because it's actually able to take a hit and then fire off. And base 85 attack and special attack is actually pretty decent for what Mega Sableye is supposed to do anyway. Like, it doesn't really need to be this like offensive for it being as bulky as it is, but the fact that it is pretty amazing. So basically, I want to learn how this thing works because I want to learn how to beat it, and I want to see if it's even worth keeping around in our league at this point, because we did have a debate on whether this thing should be banned or not. So I figured why not try it out, get an actual opinion for myself. Next up, we have the Tapu of the team, and you may be kind of surprised to see me go for Tapu Koko over Tapu Lele, since Tapu Lele is allowed in this league. My main logic behind that is I think everybody's going to be taking Tapu Lele. So I kind of, I don't want to say I counter-teamed, like specifically picking Tapu Koko, but I know that Tapu Koko is able to do more stuff for my team, as you'll see, than Tapu Lele is. And since everybody's taking Tapu Lele anyway, I figured I might as well try out another Tapu and just see how they actually work. Electric Surge is not like super useful, especially compared to Psychic Surge, or whatever it is. Just because Electric Train only boosts electric moves and makes it so you can't fall asleep. But it is kind of interesting to pair that with the Kamalo that I have, who can't be status in any other way but sleep. I guess. So there's a little bit of synergy there that I didn't think about. But Tapu Koko just gives me a lot of speed that I didn't have before. It gives me more mixed offense that I didn't have before. It gives me even more setup than I had before. Gives me a Volt Switcher, which is pretty nice, and I can run anything if I want to, just in case the opponent has a lot of ground types or something. But yeah, there's a couple other things that I actually want to use Tapu Koko for that I'm going to have to stop myself from saying, but I think Electric Fairy is going to be a very good offensive typing for me, and I actually see myself bringing Tapu Koko fairly often this season. I haven't used it as much as Tapu Lele, like especially when laddering and stuff, but I realized that Tapu Koko best fits on a rain team, and for the first of my 3 classic picks, I guess, I decided to get probably the best rain setter. It's, like, I guess it's up in the air if you prefer Politoed, but I personally prefer Pelipper. Drizzle is a new ability that I got in Gen 7, which means that it summons rain on switch-in. So with that, I have a Pokemon that can instantly bring rain. I have a Pokemon that can actually use rain itself by being able to use Stab Hurricane in the rain. I can also use any of the other special attacks Pelipper has, because 95 special attack is pretty decent. If you've ever fought a Pelipper in Gen 3, you know the Pelipper is really bulky than it wants to be. So it gets Roost, it gets Defog. Honestly, I don't really see a lot of teams actually bringing hazards against me, first of all just because I have a Mega Sableye, but also because I have a million different forms of hazard removal. And that's kind of one of the main goals that I had with this team, was just to get stuff that has hazard removal, so I don't have to limit myself as much as I did last season. Hope I get Seed Bomb for some reason, I don't really know why. But getting back to my team, I guess, sorry, I'm a little distracted because I'm not feeling that great, but I think Pelipper actually adds a lot. I'm probably really only going to be bringing Rain Pelipper whenever I bring it, but if I see a week where a Wall Pelipper works well, but my opponent has Rain Abusers, I'll probably end up running something like Rain Dish or Kenai, just so I don't get screwed over by accidentally sending Rain for them. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to use Pelipper. I don't think I would ever actually draft Pelipper, just because it's probably going to be a tier 2, because it sets the weather. So I figured this would probably be a good format for it. Since I drafted Rain, I might as well draft a Rain Abuser, otherwise there's no reason for me to have drafted Rain. And I didn't have a Dragon on this team, actually, until now, so I decided to get Kingdra because it fit pretty well. It actually doesn't share any of the weaknesses that Pelipper does, despite having water typing, which is kind of cool, because Dragon resists both electric and grass. So that's kind of nice. Kingdra is actually a very reliable Rain Sweeper, but I am surprised to see, like, in my test recording, or my test battle so far, that it's actually a pretty decent, like, outside of Rain Pokemon, too. I haven't personally used Kingdra a ton, but the Sniper Kerchief set is pretty cool, and I've actually seen a couple of, like, Wall Kingdra sets that are pretty interesting, so, I don't know, I can see myself bringing this thing more than I originally expected to, I guess. I originally drafted it with the intent of basically just being a Rain Abuser, but the more I'm playing with it, the more I'm realizing that there's actually some cool stuff you can do. So, pretty excited to use it, I guess. And finally, because I apparently can't go a season without drafting Scizor, Scizor's back. Clamps is making his third return in 3 seasons in the NES. But I just realized throughout my team that I needed a little bit of priority, just because I needed something to be able to deal with all of the other priority that could be running around in the league. I wanted something that I was comfortable with, because I was drafting a lot of things that I had never used before. I didn't really actually need another defogger, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what I can do with a Scizor that doesn't have to fucking run defog every single week on it. I mean, I guess I can run through the moveset if you don't know what Scizor does, but I've broken this thing down so many times at this point. Yeah, it gives me another Baton Passer, which would be pretty nice, because both of my Baton Pass Pokemon kind of pass different things. They can both pass attack, which is nice, but Scizor can also pass speed, which I may take advantage of at some point this season. Yeah, so ignore this, because that was just us testing if you could bring multiple Z crystals. This is my team. I'm pretty excited about it. This wasn't actually the team I was originally planning on drafting, if I'm being perfectly honest. But after helping out Super and Tom with their teams, I realized that nobody was really planning for Rain very much. So I kind of wanted to have a Rain Abuser. I'm really glad that I did, because there's a couple other teams in the league that have other weather setters, I guess. I'm glad I'm not the only person that wanted to try weather, but it seems like I'm the only person so far that wanted to try Rain, so it should be pretty interesting. The first battles for these should be going up sometime next week. We may be delaying it slightly to see if there's, like, other coaches that need to come in, just because I know that the guy that was supposed to be my week 1 opponent is now no longer in the league. But I'll update you guys when I figure that out, I guess. So, get hyped, I guess, because Alola's here, and Gen 7 Leagues stuff is finally on the channel. If you made it through this video, congratulations. I don't know how you stood 25 minutes of me rambling, but good for you. If you want to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below with what you think of my team. If you think there's any sets that you want to see, let me know. Yeah, I just really like talking to you guys, so please comment and stuff. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.